In for Boozer. The only teams to defeat Duke this year, Stanford, UConn, and Maryland.
There's that 2-3 zone moving a great deal. There are quite a few holes.
James steps in, two-point shot, drops.
James, due to illness, has not been very productive in the last 3 ball games. Right before that time, he had 3 straight double-figure games. I think he's in a lot better shape today. You'll notice Duke switching on almost all occasions against this St. John's team.
Bootsy Thornton, who a year ago scored 40 against the Blue Devils in a game at Madison Square Garden.
Great crossover dribble. Good tap out by Postel.
Reach in outside on James. A year ago, January in New York, 92-88 Duke in overtime. And Billy, you said it might have been the game of the regular season last year.
Well, Duke had a 10-point lead in the second half. St. John's came back. Everybody remembers Ron Artest with a great jump shooting to put the game into overtime. And what was interesting, Jim, in talking to the Duke players yesterday, Carrawell and Battier particularly, when they mentioned that that game may have been the thing that set them on fire this year because they realized they could win without the likes of Elton Brand and William Avery.
Here's Bootsy, knocks down a 3.
St. John's not getting any offensive catches off the rebounds, but they're tapping it out very effectively.
10-5 early advantage for the visiting Red Storm.
Biggest offensive night of his career against Wake Forest, stepping out time and again to hit those threes the other night with 34 points. Great man-to-man by Duke.
Williams, and did he get the steal? Well, no, they're going to call the foul on Jason. That one's going against St. John's.
Well, Williams thought he had the clean steal right there. And both were number 22, Glover and Williams, so he was somewhat concerned that the foul was called on him, was Jason Williams. Battier coming back to help out. Christensen wide open inside.
Powers it in.
This St. John's team, Jim, is not a shot-blocking basketball team. They only have 72 on the year, so expect Duke to take the ball down in low and try to power against them.
St. John's team that does not have a starter over 6'7".
A lot of good leapers.
Postel gets past Battier, misses the reverse, and aggressively rebounded by Christensen.
Boozer took an early seat on that bench when he missed those 2 shots early inside. Christensen's come on to pick him up.
Battier not this time. Glover pulls it in for St. John's.
Glover, 2-time Rookie of the Week in the Big East so far this year. Darius Lane of Seton Hall is kind of controlling that role, but he has been an outstanding player in the middle.
Let's get past Bootsy Thornton, and one. A possible 4-point play.
Thornton, who really lit Duke up last year in Madison Square Garden with 40. And the thing about Bootsy that's so incredible is that he plays his best basketball against top-rated basketball teams.
Well, he had 28 in the game this year against Ohio State. His second highest outpoint of his career. He's never had a 30-point game. Had the 40 against Duke, 28 against Ohio State this year. And, well, the rare 4-point play does not materialize.
Again, with that 2-3 zone, Christensen is not the player Boozer is down in low to score.
Well, there's a long-range 3 by Nate James. St. John's has brought in Donald Emmanuel.
James had 11 big points in that win in Madison Square Garden last year. Very tough guy to stop from the deep corner.
Stolen by Carrawell, ahead to James.
Tremendous pass by Carrawell, leading James perfectly, throwing it up over the top so it was soft enough to run under.
Duke with its first lead of the game on a 10-3 run out of the break. Jumper in the lane, drops for Jesse.
Bad play by Nate James on the backdoor cut.
Michigan State and Indiana all square at 79 with 14 seconds to go in Bloomington. Christensen, travel.
Doesn't have the footwork as does Boozer, but Boozer's coming back in the ball game now.
Timeout on the court. Game is all tied.
By 2. Let's go back to Jim Nance and Billy Packer.
All right, thank you.
Jim, that's a huge win for Indiana coming off of that beating at Illinois the other night. That Big Ten tournament's going to be something. Look at Mike Krzyzewski working mind games with his team very early on.
Inside Postel, retrieves it, rejected. Carrawell back up, tip twice.
Over the back.
All right, we appreciate that update from Greg, and boy, we look forward to the Big Ten tournament in a couple of weeks.
It should be something, Jim. You're looking at potential with the Big Ten tournament, the SEC tournament, with clubs that could be seeded as high as 5 on down in the semifinals, every one of them.
Carrawell on the baseline, over to Horvath, the freshman, for 2.
One of the things that Duke worked on yesterday is shooting the ball and being prepared to shoot before you catch it. There, Horvath was ready to finish it off because St. John's is so quick to the ball at all positions.
Postel got caught underneath.
Nice defensive job by Carrawell not to foul on the play. Emmanuel in the game now. No match for Battier out there.
Three-pointer by Battier.
Battier getting so much confidence with his perimeter game. Emmanuel is a post player. Not able to step out and guard a man at that far from the basket.
Duke having knocked down 7 of its last 8.
There's the double team against everybody that posts up against Duke on the inside. Good foul there as Emmanuel had a layup.
Barkley had a wide open 3 on the wing.
You notice that Duke likes to double down, but they will not double down on Glover. But they really do double down because they worry about guys like Postel and Bootsy Thornton on the inside.
Chudney Gray, number 3, in for St. John's. Jesse to the bench. And in the lane, hacked. Let's see, who will they call it on for Duke?
Battier, I believe. And there's just a great situation where you have guys, Jim, that can score and they can also shoot. Thornton is certainly one of those guys. I mentioned to you how he plays big in big games. Against the likes of DePaul, Syracuse, Connecticut, Ohio State, he's averaging 18-6 a game, shooting over 50% from the floor and over 48% from 3. That's what you like, a veteran player who steps up in the big games.
Yeah, he's 0 for 2 from the line in this one. Jim Nance, Billy Packer, we welcome you to Cameron Indoor Stadium on the Duke University campus. The Blue Devils on a 15-5 run after being down 5 early. Freshman Jason Williams tries to bank it home. St. John's currently 2nd in the Big East. Duke having already clinched the ACC crown. Barkley with a jumper comes up short. Horvath with the rebound for Duke.
Horvath the other night against Wake Forest, knowing that he's going to see much more playing time now with Dunleavy out. And a big ball game. He's a very good shooter from the wings.
Battier with a quick turnaround.
Picking up right where he left off the other night, as I said, his biggest offensive production of his career.
Mike Jarvis wants to talk about it. Battier had 34 points in a win over Wake Forest earlier in the week to clinch the ACC for a 4th straight year.
The firm loves you.
Nobody can beat our offer.
Stanley, please. Just yesterday, a startup in Frisco made a mockery of your signing bonus. A firm in New York laid the smackdown on your 401k, and a righteous place in Chicago made your starting salary look like cab fare.
You know what? I don't like you, but I'll give you what you want.
Cool.
Play your hand at hotjobs.com. All the best jobs and the tools to find them at Hot Jobs, the hottest hand on the web.
Duke is ranked second in the country. St. John's is unranked, but just one slot outside of the rankings. Duke has a win streak of 64 in a row over teams that are unranked.
As I said before, kind of a misnomer not to have this St. John's team ranked in the top 25 in the nation. There's Duke trying to switch, and St. John's taking advantage of it.
So Battier pulls it down. Duke on some kind of roll right now. Boozer for 2 more.
Jim, there we go back to the technique I talked about. For big men to get ready to shoot before they catch the ball. Boozer was ready that time, unlike the first 2 occasions he touched it.
St. John's has missed its last 6 from the field.
Now watch this switching by Duke in this man-to-man. You get in some unusual matchups. Here's Battier on Barkley. Now he's got to get some help, and does from Boozer. Now Boozer on Barkley. Tough one.
Stripped away by Battier, last year's National Defensive Player of the Year.
And notice that Duke did not double down on Glover, so Battier was set with him all alone.
He wants it, and he gets it.
Unbelievable.
Battier with 11, including 3 threes.
We're talking about a man who last year was considered offensively a role player. Now he's stepping up as being one of the premier forwards that we've seen on this floor.
Gray spins outside. Bootsy Thornton.
He loves it.
3 more. And for those just joining us, Bootsy Thornton last year against Duke scored 40 points.
7 for 11 from 3 in that ball game. One of the things that Duke cannot afford to do is to go ahead and double up on Gray on the drive and leave Thornton wide open.
9-point Blue Devil lead to the max, over 9,000 here. Battier left open in the corner, not this time, and the Red Storm gets a little break opportunity. Barkley lost control of it, stripped away somewhat.
Well, Williams got a good block coming from behind, but Williams did not fill in the gap on that long jump shot. He should have been in position for an offensive rebound. Barkley is so tough leading that break. He's missed 2 games this year because of knee surgery back in December, and then of course 2 with a suspension.
Foul called on that by Chudney Gray of St. John's.
A little different mix on the zone that time by St. John's. Got away from the matching up a little bit now. Here again, you see the matchups. Boy, James gets used right there.
Glover underneath. And a whistle on Boozer. The player matchups feature lets you select any 2 players from the top 25 teams and compare them in head-to-head breakdown. Just go to cbs.sportsline.com, or America Online users enter the keyword CBS Sportsline. St. John's in the last week has defeated Syracuse, and on Monday night convincingly over UConn.
That gives them 2 wins on the year against UConn, a team that, considering where they were to start the season, you'd have to say has struggled and has been not as productive as anticipated.
So with the win over UConn by St. John's Monday, and now playing Duke today, the Red Storm has the unique opportunity to defeat both finalists from a year ago in the national championship scenario.
In the same week? I don't know, Jim. We talked about that earlier today. I don't know if that's ever been done before. It'd take a much better historian than me to figure that one out.
Well, our guys Ryan Kennedy and company, back in our research in New York, they've checked in the modern era, and in the last 25 years, there's been one such kind of interesting same scenario. Boozer comes up short.
Boy, Boozer came into this game making 17 of his last 19 shots, has missed 3 easy ones today. What's the scenario, Jim?
1986. In an 8-day span, St. John's beat Villanova and Georgetown, both on the road, in fact.
Wow.
So they've done it in 8 days before, which is probably the all-time record.
That's not the question you asked me, Jim. You said 7 days.
Well, this could actually be 5 days.
5 days.
5 days. Chance to beat both finalists from a year ago in a 5-day span. They've completed part 1, but they're down 8 in part 2.
There's that step out that Duke is using so effectively. I think Barkley ought to take that ball quick across that step out and be matched up against the big man where he can easily beat him.
Great pass by Barkley, setting up Glover, who has 7.
Glover had 35 against Hofstra earlier this year. Look at St. John's changing up their defenses. They showed a flat 2-3 to start this game. Nobody under.
And rebound by Jesse.
No offensive rebounding by Duke.
Gray from the corner. It's a 9-0 run for the Red Storm. To climb within 3.
A little bit of a diamond zone press right here now. Carrawell making the moves, but nobody there to finish.
Williams, three-pointer at the other end.
Good extra pass that time by Horvath. This Duke team, #1 scoring club in the ACC. Last year, of course, the leading scoring team in the nation.
And leading the nation again this year. Battier can't leave him open, but that's twice now. He's hit the tough ones, but the open ones haven't dropped.
Battier hustles back on defense, but takes the ball out of bounds with him.
With the conclusion of today's game, we will select a Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from each team, and Chevrolet will make a contribution to each school's General Scholarship Fund, a tradition for over a quarter-century.
I like what we're seeing right here out of Mike Jarvis in regard to early substitution patterns. This gymnasium will get very, very hot today, and it's going to be a bit difficult for guys to play those 35 minutes.
So Emmanuel returns for the Red Storm. St. John's really leans on 7 players in all. 8 minutes to go.
Barkley's had a number of 40-minute games this year.
Jesse, long rebound, Williams.
I think Duke would be best served to take the ball. Shooting strictly on the perimeter, not getting any second shots that way. There's the zone, the 2-3 flattened back out again. Nice defense there, not allowing Carrawell to turn the corner. Jesse did a good job.
Christensen inside. Tied up.
Good job by Emmanuel on the inside, not giving anything there. Boozer's got to be the man inside.
The arrow belongs to St. John's. One in a second. Is such a big part of this program to this day. There he is behind the Red Storm bench.
He's sitting back there. Now, he did not come to Cameron, but back in 1979, on probably the blackest day in ACC basketball history, he brought his St. John's team down here in the NCAA tournament and beat Duke. At the same day, Penn beat University of North Carolina. Still looked upon as Black Sunday here in the Triangle.
As the NCAA East Regional at nearby at Greensboro?
That's right. Well, the regional then went to Greensboro. Everybody just assumed Duke and Carolina would be playing for the championship in the East Regional. On that particular day, St. John's and Penn wiped them both off.
Manuel snags it.
And everybody remembers 79, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson finally met for the national championship.
And Penn went on to the Final Four to represent the East.
Right. They eventually beat St. John's to get there. Unnecessary rebound, catches it with 2 hands, and it's Duke's ball. Fortunate for Duke, the ball went off the foot of a St. John's player.
Tonight on CBS, enter the world of ultimate fighting as Sammo Hung searches for his long-lost son on an all-new martial law tonight on CBS.
Louis also brought a St. John's team down here for what used to be the ACC Big East Challenge, but that game was played in Greensboro, North Carolina, won by Duke. There's the 2-3 zone again. Battier setting up down inside now as Duke's going to try to get some scoring inside.
Carrawell banks it home smartly. He has 5, Duke's leading scorer on the season.
And look at who it is, Battier. Now Duke's setting up in the zone. Battier out front. Makes it kind of tough for Barkley to shoot over.
St. John's ball. Boozer and James starters return for Christensen and Horvath.
Both coaches trying to rotate as many guys early and save people in this hot gymnasium.
Again, those just joining us, we talked about it at the start, but Michael Dunleavy, the valuable 6th man for Duke, the freshman, With mononucleosis, it will not be playing with the team, it looks like, Billy, until perhaps the ACC tournament. Bank shot by Postel.
Beautiful bank shot. I really love the concentration on that shot. Young players always ought to realize when you've got that 45-degree angle, you're going to bank it. Not a good pass by Williams too far away, but to really lock in on a point on that backboard, because that backboard will really help you on those shots from that angle. Postel did a good job. Still in the 2-3 zone. Now Boozer's got to find some holes, as Battier is trying to do now. Plenty of room in there to get the ball down inside and then kick out. Duke wanting to get on the foul line some by going inside against the zone. One of their big advantages is that they really take themselves to the foul line.
Boozer short.
Boy, he is having an off day for him, not able to put anything away inside.
He's had a lot of chances close range. And a block. Battier's specialty, of course, is the draw charge, but not this time. The whistle goes the other way.
Boy, his feet were moving pretty well on that one. He had 36 charges last year, had 19 so far this year.
Tomorrow, triple header Sunday here on CBS. Billy will be down with Tim Brando for Auburn and Florida. Some will see Georgetown, Syracuse, or Georgia Tech against Wake Forest. And then on the back end of the day, Illinois and Ohio State.
Auburn, Florida, the incredible SEC battles that they've had this year. Tennessee, Kentucky, LSU, Auburn, and Florida. One of those five won't even make it, and maybe more, won't even make it to the SEC semifinals. What a deep lead.
What a season for Brady and LSU.
Oh, unbelievable.
Many followers coming out of nowhere with that season.
Postel, excellent free throw shooter, had a 21 straight streak and an 18 straight streak so far this year. Good move by Williams.
Back to Carrawell, and one.
There was a case, Emmanuel, no opportunity whatsoever to stop Williams on penetration. We talk about St. John's having a team where a lot of guys can catch the ball, pass the ball, shoot it, run, and defend. Duke is blessed with some of that same kind of talent. Carrawell, good hands, looks the ball right into his hands, and an excellent finisher. Remember last year in that game in Madison Square Garden, the 3 free throws he made in the last 20 seconds sealed that win.
15 minutes, 3 seconds into the game. That's the first free throw attempt for Duke.
Very unusual because they actually make more free throws than their opponents shoot. It's a very key thing to keep Duke off that foul line.
Duke's lead is 6. Bootsy Thornton.
Great square up on that shot by Thornton.
Barkley with a 3 of his own. He opened the game with a 3, and now he has another one.
Duke may be trying to rest itself a little bit by going zone, but I'll tell you, this is a tough team to zone with Thornton and Barkley and Postel can all make that shot.
Boozer again. He can't finish.
That was a block by Postel.
3 to tie for St. John's. Down by as many as 12.
Good job on the switch. Postel wants to go ahead and post up against Williams, and he does.
Doesn't get the roll. Boozer clears.
What Boozer is going to have to do, Jim, is not worry about getting fouled. When he gets the ball inside, he's just going to have to power it to the basket and look for the dunk.
Boozer this time. What a smart pass by Jason Williams. There he is.
That's what he has to look for. Just take the ball right to the rim and dunk it. Don't worry about getting cute inside.
Boozer had made only one of his first 6, and all of them were right around the basket, all those attempts.
And what that does is put Glover in such a tough position to foul, and St. John's can ill afford to have him on the bench.
Barkley, back of the rim, and Boozer. Duke had position underneath.
So a little bit of a 1-1-3 here.
Williams gets it back. Nifty move, but a chance here for St. John's. Barkley, And the lead again is reduced to 3.
Nice job by Battier getting back, but as you saw, when Williams took it down inside, there was no defensive balance for Duke.
That quiets the crowd a little bit. That's hard to do at Cameron. Carrawell stripped away. Glover, what a play. Oh, and a miscommunication.
You don't see that happen very often between Barkley and Postel. They read each other really well.
He suspended 2 games for his involvement in a car switch. And now, of course, the topic of debate about how was his prep school funding taken care of. And that issue is not dead either.
Not dead, but he's getting an awful lot of support around the country, both from other coaches as well as players. And that's goaltending. That was great ball movement by Duke University inside. We have seen Postel coming from the weak side, getting a piece of things inside. James goes up. Postel gets it, traps it on the board on the way down. Pretty easy call to make. Duke goes back to the man-to-man, much more effective than was their zone.
Barkley found a lot of support, by the way, right here on this Duke team. Shane Battier and the Blue Devils. And Shane Battier, before the game, had a visit with him. There is going to be, starting, well, it really began last weekend, but there is a new student-athlete council that has been formed to give the players a voice, and Shane Battier will chair that council. It will be a 7 o'clock conference call tomorrow, Billy, involving some of the top players in college basketball, like Mark Madsen, Brian Cardinal, Eton Thomas. Thornton banks it home.
Again, Gray, with his dribbling on the inside, able to hit on, and they got to play him for the pass, not the shot. You know, it's interesting, right here at Duke University, a guy named Dick Lavenzio was an outstanding guard, was a guy that tried to mount such support a number of years ago. People considered him kind of a rabble-rouser, and he took a position about unionizing student athletes. But this is going to be a movement, Jim, that will not go away quickly. Matter of fact, I think it has a very positive importance it can bring to the college game.
We asked Shane yesterday what was the impetus to put this group together, and he said the craziness of kids being declared ineligible. And
well, he called Barkley's move a witch hunt. And I thought made the interesting comparison to, hey, when you're in high school and you had a great game and a guy in a deli gives you an extra piece of roast beef, does that mean you've had added bonus because you're an athlete? I mean, it does get down to be rather ridiculous.
Here's Barkley, and the reverse move brings it down to 1.
And one of the things that we're seeing out here right now is exactly what Mike Krzyzewski tried to work again yesterday, and that is St. John's ability in the open court to turn their defense immediately into offense.
30 seconds to go in the half. Battier wasn't ready. Barkley can get the assist here, and St. John's can go in front, and Thornton converts. Again,
defense to offense. Almost James threw it away again. Luckily pulled the ball back. Nice job by St. John's in this. A little bit of a 2-3 zone, and then they come out and trap half court.
5 seconds. James looks inside. Christensen unloads, and the Red Storm fights back from 12 down to take the lead into the locker room.
Duke not getting the production they need inside against St. John's with Boozer and Christensen.
Bootsy Thornton gave him the lead. He has 13 points to lead all score at the half. Hello there, Greg.
Hello, Jim, and thank you. Coming up on Pennzoil.
Billy, first half.
Here you can see that St. John's 2-3 zone. Now, Duke has been finding the gaps on the inside, but they've been satisfied with shooting the ball from out on the perimeter. You can see right here, number 4 is Boozer. He is open on the inside. Duke not getting the ball to him, and when they do, he is not being delivered. He came into this ball game making 17 of his last 19 field goals. Today, Boozer is 2 for 7. And Duke, and one of the things that it does for Duke is if he's not scoring and they're not going inside, they don't get on the foul line. Could you imagine a team that has shot 622 free throws on the year, has 0 for 1 in the first half?
One attempt came on an attempt to try to complete a three-point play. Carrawell missed.
Well, that ball was kicked
no
and not
kick
called.
Thornton And no call at the other end on James.
Mike Krzyzewski can't believe it all either. The ball was kicked by St. John's, not called.
Everyone kind of stood still on the court waiting for the whistle.
How could three fellas miss that play? They have actually had two common opponents without Barkley. We'll see the kick down on the inside right here. Ball goes inside. There's the kick. No question about it. Pretty easy thing to call. But they both played DePaul, with Duke winning in overtime here. St. John's lost at DePaul with Barkley out, and that's, of course, a big out. And then St. John's destroyed Virginia early this year, a very young team at that point in time, and Duke has beaten Virginia twice.
They also both have played UConn this year.
And UConn, right. And of course, there you go back to Duke playing UConn in the second game of the year, a situation where they were a very young team. Jim, it's going to be interesting this year for this committee when you start thinking about great players. I mentioned Barkley being out for some games in which St. John's lost. Mateen Cleaves early in the year, you know, with injuries. Hannah Metala out with some injuries. In the case of Arizona, numerous players now with Lauren Woods out with injuries. It's going to be very interesting as to what that means to the committee in terms of the strength of clubs.
You were using as an example the Cleaves-Michigan State season. You take their record with Cleaves, they're much obviously a better
they're a number one seed.
Are they number one seed? But the loss today to Indiana here on CBS may have knocked them back to a 2, although the Big Ten tournament still looming.
I would expect that Mike Krzyzewski said to his team in his second half, particularly at the start of it, we're going inside, inside, inside. Barkley should have taken James. He's too quick for him outside. James has had trouble defensively today.
Emmanuel put back.
Great shot by Postel.
So they swap the lead here at the start of the second half.
And there's that half-court trap again.
Carrawell and a whistle.
A little late call on that one, and Mike Jarvis didn't like it. Both of these coaches going to start working the officials right now. That one's going to be on Jesse.
First on Reggie Jesse.
Nobody in St. John's. They only had 4 personal fouls called in the whole first half.
So Carrawell will shoot the second and third free throws of the game for Duke. He is 9 wins away from becoming the all-time winningest Blue Devil. Now, that's not a lock that he's going to get there, obviously. They'd have to go pretty deep into the NCAA tournament.
And in the ACC tournament.
And exactly. He would try to overtake the Duke record for wins in a career, jointly held by Christian Laettner and Brian Davis.
Misses a pair.
So they still haven't made a free throw in the game. They're 0 for 3 as a team. All 3 attempts from Carrawell.
Barkley wanting to take Williams on the inside. Good patience on his part.
Boozer did make those free throws here early in this half, so let me correct that. Ball loose, and there is Boozer.
Carrawell did a good job blocking out Postel so that he couldn't get over to make the defensive play. Might as well just credit him with an assist on it. Boozer showing his versatility, being able to put the ball on the floor and take it half court.
Barkley for the lead back. And what a play there by Emmanuel.
Well, what James did, figured that if he was out of bounds, that it wouldn't count against him, but he's the first thing it touched out of bounds. So Emmanuel does a nice job throwing it right at James.
St. John's down 1. Back in front on the Postel jumper.
Boy, they're a fun team to watch, is the St. John's, because so many guys can use the fundamental skills of basketball well. And again, they try to trap out of the zone and then drop back to the 2-3.
Carrawell gets baseline, lost control of it. James steps back. 3 is short.
Good decision by Emmanuel there, because Thornton had broken away. Matter of fact, he's wide open in the corner now.
Barkley splits the defenders. Red Storm is up 3.
Crowd getting a little impatient here. Quick hands.
The academic all-stars recognize one player on each team for academic excellence. For today's game, the all-stars are LeVar Postel of St. John's and Shane Battier of Duke. Congratulations. Duke doesn't lose non-conference games at home very often. Won 125 of the last 127 games here against non-ACC opponents.
And there is Duke's answer in this ball game. They should get that ball in the perimeter, throw it on the inside, and attack the glass. St. John's just can't handle them down inside. But you can see now cramping up a little bit Barkley. You know, Barkley's played here twice before, not as St. John's, but with Riverside Church in outstanding tournaments when he was in high school. Brought down the likes of Elton Grant and Ron Artest, Lamar Odom on those teams, and won 2 games here.
He said he liked playing here, liked shooting here. And Nate James does as well. He ties it at 45.
Now with Barkley out of the ball game, Duke can pick up their defensive pressure. Gray is the primary ball handler. Does not finish as well as does Barkley.
Thornton blocked by Carrawell. He's up ahead, and Duke takes the lead back.
Great pass by Williams. Gray didn't get back to defend. Bootsy Thornton was kind of helpless on that play. He was already committed to shoot the jumper, and Carrawell had good steps on him.
Stolen again by Battier. Carrawell back to Battier.
Oh, how about that play?
Gray, Chudney Gray.
Almost a sensational block by Gray. And now it's Duke that's getting some offense from their defense. And here we see coming back in the game quickly is Barkley. And you can see what happens when he's out of there for St. John's. Good pass. Battier intended to dunk on it, but Gray got a piece of it. As I mentioned, Eric Barkley has had 5 games this year, considering he's had to sit down 2 with injury and 2 with a suspension, but he's had 5 other games in which he's played 40 minutes.
He suffered from some dehydration problems in the game against UConn. Had to be carried off the floor, had an IV after the game. He said he's been drinking nothing but water here leading up to this one. And knew it was going to be a warm environment here today.
Well, he's played out of 440 potential minutes in Big East games. He's played 413. So you can see how valuable he is on the floor for him.
Barkley is back in. Horvath returns for Duke. And the Blue Devils are in front by 3.
Do these eyes belong to you?
Good point guards know how to hold back there and make sure you don't get that easy shot.
Barkley's back in there directing the St. John's attack.
Good strip. That was Williams that time. We see a lot of that Northeastern basketball defensively being shown right now. Williams, Barkley, guys that will go ahead and make the strip before you release your shot. Williams, of course, from New Jersey.
Battier.
Great hands. And there's the strip I was talking about. Instead of trying to go for the block, a lot of Eastern players like to go ahead and attack you down below.
Sunday on 60 Minutes, among the people the world's biggest spy station listens in on could be you. If you don't believe it, watch 60 Minutes Sunday on CBS.
You know, Jim, St. John's won their 1600 game just last week in these big wins that they've been having. 5 teams with 1600 wins, of course, Duke being one of those, Kentucky the all-time leader. But St. John's is the only team of that bunch that has not won a national championship, between Kentucky, North Carolina, Kansas, Duke, and St. John's. Great basketball traditions, but St. John's doesn't have the so-called big one behind their name.
Last in the Final Four in 1985.
Duke has been very effective this half defensively, sticking with their man-to-man. They got a little soft in the zone in the first half.
Barkley, wow, that dazzled the crowd.
What a drive, using the rim, shield off the defender. St. John's going back, conserving energy, because they are going to be just 6 deep here.
Horvath spins.
Not a good shot.
Bootsy Thornton running up with it.
He's taking it.
To Glover, and one. And a chance to tie.
Again, the transition basketball at St. John's, taking it right from their defense, making it their offense. And then commits a foul on the other end as well. See, he gets there a little late. And he sits down. But he's only been playing under 9 minutes a game. You can see how much this club misses Dunleavy, Jim, and he is home in Portland.
He unable to go to class with the mono, so they sent him home for the week. Expected back later this week. And I thought, as that ties it, Glover ties it. It's interesting to hear Coach K talk about how you lose them, and really you lose 4 or 5 different combinations.
Absolutely.
For the team to feel it, during a game, to be able to adjust a lot of different ways.
Now he is a player. There's the play right there for Duke University, down inside. St. John's has no answer for that whatsoever. You can see that Hoosier's head. He got that in the NC State game, but you can see he's looking to finish on the inside now. He had so much trouble in the first half. Glover, no opportunity whatsoever at 6'7" to handle Boozer, who was a guy heavily recruited by Mike Jarvis to St. John's. Thought he had a chance to get him. Good free throw shooter for a big man.
Freshman from Alaska, 11 points, 7 coming in this half.
But Duke not able to get a working margin against this St. John's team. Very patient. Don't turn the ball over.
Emmanuel from the outside.
Big shot off the bench right there. And that's one, if you're sitting down on the Duke bench, you say, he shot it.
Take it.
Good, take it. And then all of a sudden, boom. Again, Emmanuel down inside gives a little bit more presence for Boozer with his size as opposed to Glover.
Williams.
Battier actually took the ball away from what could have been Boozer's rebound.
So back and forth we go. Duke with a 1-point lead inside 14 minutes to play.
But again, what we're seeing, Jim, is one of Duke's staples is getting to the free throw line. St. John's doing a great job keeping them off of there.
Barkley with a 3, way short. Hey. However, Thornton puts it up and in.
A replay of the Indiana-Michigan State game. Or, Jim, to make you feel bad, North Carolina State-Houston game.
Thanks,
The missed shot for the putback.
This was exactly what Lynn Washington did earlier today to give the Hoosiers the win.
You see, Barkley comes up short. Nobody getting inside blockout position. And Thornton able to put it away. Thornton just a 56% free throw shooter. But hard to believe a guy can be that good a three-point shooter, but just can't hit him from the foul line.
But an error there will give St. John's the ball back with the 1-point lead.
Isn't it amazing, this team, when Barkley comes back out on the floor, everything settles down. Duke was able to get their lead with Gray took his spot, and Barkley had what looked like some cramping. Doubling on the post-ups.
Jumper knocked down there by Jesse.
Great job by Thornton to recognize the double team coming through opposite.
Timeout called by Duke. Second-ranked team in the country. Trails by 3 at home.
This is your new business. And this is your new car. The new Volvo V40. Now get back to work. Every bit of Volvo for about $24,000.
Teams making a move toward March. Longest win streak. Temple sharing that title jointly with Utah State. Temple with its win earlier today.
Just 4 losses has Temple. A very aggressive schedule on the road. I'll tell you, going to win at Dayton and at Cincinnati in the same weeks. Tough task. And Duke's got a tough task right now.
Stolen away. Postel. He'll challenge. And Carrawell, they say, reached in. Looked pretty clean.
Here's a situation where actually St. John's going to the foul line much more than Duke.
Third foul on Carrawell. A reminder tomorrow, huge game in the SEC. It'll lead off our triple header. Auburn against Florida. And then in the middle, many will see Georgetown against Syracuse as the Orangemen try to stay on top in the Big East. Illinois, Ohio State on the back end of the day tomorrow on CBS.
Ron Kruger's club coming on from the Big Ten right now. We anticipated at the beginning of the year that they would be a factor for the Big Ten championship. Kind of dug themselves a little hole, but getting really strong now. We remember what they looked like in the Big Ten tournament last year without the kind of personnel they have now.
They were last in the regular season a year ago. Made it all the way to the conference tournament final where Michigan State beat them.
St. John's widening things out. 5-point lead here. As I mentioned, free throw shooting, something that Duke normally are very proficient at, and getting on the line. Here they go again, defense to offense.
Barkley to Postel. St. John's has its biggest lead of the day.
They are taking the game to Duke University right now.
Seven-point lead for the Red Storm.
The zone is getting much tougher down inside. Emmanuel really doing a job on Boozer.
Carrawell, too strong.
Nothing there. That was a good job by Emmanuel again.
St. John's keeps breaking.
I'll tell you what, though, Barkley looks like he's starting to pull up lame again. I think he's going to have to come out of there.
What a pass, though, to Postel.
Excellent play. Actually, it was a 4-on-1 fast break there. Barkley is having to sit down, and Jim, this does not spell well for St. John's with him out of the lineup. He's cramping up.
That last collision was a foul called on Reggie Jesse. Carrawell.
Nothing going for Duke.
Williams will try it. Open three. Yes.
Big rebound by Boozer. And if Duke is going to make a move, they better think about making it with Barkley having to sit down there cramping out right now.
Jesse, yes, at the other end, back to 6.
Every one of these St. John's players can catch the ball and play a position, whether it be forward, guard, and sometimes helping out inside.
Vanier looking for help, finds it. Boozer, and one.
Real good decision by Williams on the play. And this is what surprised me to start of this game, Jim. Boozer had easy shots. He just wasn't finishing.
That's the third on Emmanuel.
This Duke team has won 7 of the last 10 regular season championships in the ACC. That's a pretty good run, isn't it?
Well, the 4 in a row is just almost unimaginable.
They did it back in the early 60s for the only program to have 2 teams that won uncontested regular season championships, and they've done it twice.
CBS Sports coverage of NCAA men's basketball will continue after this message and a word from your local station. Thornton.
Very tough shot there.
Gray keeps it alive, though, for St. John's.
You notice how St. John's doesn't get a lot of offensive putbacks immediately inside. They do a lot of tipping back. Good leapers, good position. Don't have a lot of size.
Tough pass. Christensen takes it away.
Williams ought to score on this one.
Oh, again he tries to go to James coming in from the right wing.
I don't know why he made those 2 decisions. He should have taken it all the way to score himself. He had Emmanuel who he could handle.
This Monday, CBS presents a new comedy about the magic of falling in love. Don't miss the series premiere of Grapevine Monday on CBS right after Everybody Loves Raymond.
Of course, the last time we had St. John's, they were in perfect position to knock off Ohio State. And Ohio State made that incredible 11-0 run to win it all as Scooney Penn made the block on Barkley.
That was in late January in New York. That run right at the end of the game for the Buckeyes.
Scooney Penn coming back where he was the MVP of the Big East Championship.
Gray misses the lay-in after a brilliant pass by Barkley.
Williams with 3 turnovers in a row.
And every time he was trying to hit James. Gray now gets the layup at the other end. Back to a 5-point St. John's lead.
Big mistakes by the freshman point guard. 2 on decision making and 1 just on an errant pass.
Farewell steps in, comes up short. Barkley leaves early. 2 more Red Storm players follow him, and Jesse lays it in.
I think that Duke University, well, they are going to go timeout. They've got to get Boozer and Battier back in. Barkley really cramping up now, and it's starting to really bother him.
9 minutes to go. St. John's leading by 7 over the second team in the country.
32-75.
Battier, he has not made a field goal since 11.5 minutes remaining was remaining on the clock in the first half. Only 1 shot in this half, coming off his 34-point explosion against Wake Forest, where they sealed the ACC. Boozer partially blocked. Keeps it alive, though.
That was Postel coming over from the weak side.
James, jumper, short. Ray breaks past James.
Again, keeping it alive.
Williams breaks out of there, though. Looking for help. This time he'll pull up with it. Knocks it down.
Much better decision on his part. St. John's doing a good job getting back. The key for St. John's is, can they keep Barkley on the floor? It seems like every couple of minutes now he starts to cramp up. These players have got to be tested a little bit physically with this heat in this arena.
Emmanuel, he made 1 jumper, but not this time. And James for the easy 2. Eight minutes to go.
Well, Mike Krzyzewski said yesterday, let's not be a common team. Let's be uncommon and not accept the fact that we've clinched the conference championship, but do bigger things today. And he's going to have to call on them now. Steps.
Postel banks it home.
Thought he walked on the play.
Mike Krzyzewski believes that Duke still has a lot to play for, specifically seeding. He doesn't feel they have anything locked up at this point.
Well, definitely not.
Duke in line, though, for the #1 seed in the East, and there's a whistle on St. John's.
Here we see and people getting a little tired. You can see Barkley, Jim. He is kind of hobbling along out there, not wanting to really get in the sprint. He knows his own body, and he's trying to go ahead and stay on the court as much as he can.
That last foul on Thornton. Boozer will shoot 2.
Boozer this year been to the line now 113 times and shooting 73%.
Reggie Jesse back in. Glover returns. Manuel out.
And as I said, this Duke team lives on the foul line normally. They made 457 free throws coming to this game. Their opponents only shot 409.
Boozer coming on in the second half, Billy.
Well, here we have turnovers. St. John's has 7 games this year with 10 or less turnovers. And look at those backcourt points. St. John's with a big advantage. And remember what they did with Connecticut. Elamine and Mooring did not get a point that game.
A single field goal. They had 2 free throws, but not 1 made basket from the floor.
And you're talking about an outstanding offensive backcourt.
Postel.
Oh, again he does it.
He's made some huge plays, challenging Boozer and beating him on that one.
Yeah, he had 22 in the Connecticut win, so he can put up some big points.
He's got 16. Williams at the other end with a 3. Cuts the lead in half. Actually down to 2.
And Postel is with Battier, the nation's #1 defender last year, but he's making him pay on these switches.
Jesse, quick turnaround for 2 more.
A little give-and-go situation. Duke switches, gets 2 men on 1. Break to the basket, and they break that switching defense down in a hurry.
Inside, Boozer with the pass from Williams.
Boy, Williams making up for those 3 turnovers he had earlier.
Six minutes to go. Thornton, 3.
Oh, brilliant shot with Battier right in his face.
18 for Bootsy Thornton.
And that was Barkley again with terrific dribbling. Had a little seam, created the penetration to kick out.
James, wow, just keep exchanging 3s.
Is it March Madness? It just feels like it, doesn't it?
Hey, let's check the calendar.
Those games just going down to the wire. Well, Duke started their season losing to Stanford. St. John's started theirs losing to Sanford.
James.
No place to go. Almost committed a big turnover.
For the lead.
Can you believe this? James had nowhere to go. It was 1 against 3, and he fortunately was able to get the ball back outside. This is a key stop for Duke right here.
Glover, was he held by it? Called on Williams.
Yeah, here's the case where you get the switch. Now here's James, no place to go. He slips, and very fortunately he's able to get the ball back to Williams, who's coming down the stretch here with some strong play. And Duke, as we mentioned, is switching in all cases, and sometimes they get in a mismatch, and that's what happened there with Glover on Williams inside.
Battier on the floor. Williams in the middle. Holds up.
Great move on his part.
Nate James.
Didn't like the shot there. Didn't like the shot. Duke has got a 1-point lead, an opportunity to go inside. They've got to force St. John's to guard them at that point.
Timeout St. John, 4.5 to go. They've squandered a 7-point lead in this second half. Duke by 1.
Mom, Dad, a 37-year-old that lives at home.
Games after an opening pair of losses in New York to Stanford and UConn. Only Maryland has beaten them since November.
Jim, what an interesting yesterday. Mike Jarvis talking about Sanford again and let everybody understand that that's a team that they opened up in the NCAA tournament last year, and he said he was really worried about playing them in the pit because their style of play and his team wouldn't be ready. And sure enough, Sanford did beat them.
A stinging opening loss in a tournament out there in New Mexico at the pit.
There again, the switch creates manual on Williams.
Good efforts for the rebound, but Battier clears.
Here comes Boozer.
Way up dunk.
And no foul on the play. That was just great recognition by Williams. He felt Boozer coming.
He inbounded the ball from the side of the court, Billy. Did you see that?
Yeah, and also Mike wanted a foul on the play. No call made.
Mike was pointing over to that far corner as really an illegal inbounds pass. Instead of from the inline. This could tie it. Manuel can't chase it down. Bob Donato takes the spill.
And you know what? Great piece of officiating, Jim, down here. Mike Krzyzewski brought it to the attention of the official, who said, Mike, I made a mistake on that one.
Timeout. Duke by 3.
I'm serious. Whenever guys find out I have a cat, they freak.
You kidding me? I love cats.
Of course, my cat's not like other cats.
Well, sure he isn't.
You get so jealous if anyone drinks my Bud Light. Anyway, I'll go get changed.
You're right.
Edge of the Road to the Final Four is sponsored by Volvo. Volvo for life. Nike. And by Nortel Networks. We're building the new high-performance internet.
Duke possession and a 3-point lead.
St. John's looks like they're showing the 1-3-1 zone now. Maybe going to trap out of this a little bit. But you got to question, can Barkley chase anybody with those cramping legs of his?
Williams.
Boozer gets fouled on the inside as St. John's surrounds him with 4 players. So far this year, the Big East and the ACC have played 9 games. The ACC with a 5-4 advantage.
Glover called for his 4th, and taking a look at the CBS Sportsline stat of the game, Duke with 11 threes. For complete game stats, go to cbs.sportsline.com. 10th foul against St. John, so double bonus, 2 free throws the rest of the way. 20 for the game for the freshman who had his breakout game on CBS back in December at Michigan when he came up with a 25-point, 10-rebound game.
Spreading things out as St. John's looking to get a mismatch on a switch. Postel and Gray.
Blocked by Boozer. Glover back up with it.
Just good hands inside.
12 for Glover. Duke by 2.
St. John stays in the 1-3-1. Should be an opportunity for Battier to get on the offensive glass.
How about a 3?
Nope.
Back to Battier. Quick pass to Carrawell. He wants to reset.
And how about that decision by Carrawell? Very smart play.
Running one-hander.
And a charge.
Charge indeed.
It's a play where you, Jim, if you're going in there against that zone, you got to come to the jump stop and get it off.
Tonight on CBS, America's Night of Heroes, all new, beginning with early edition. Sammo Hung and Arsenio Hall then, and Marshall Law, Chuck Norris, Walker, Texas Ranger. That
was not a good possession for Duke. Didn't get a good look at the basket, kind of shot they'd want.
And the 4th on Carrawell. 2.5 remaining.
Oh, they did not switch that time, keeping Battier on Postel.
Thornton.
Williams with a good rebound.
Knocked loose, Duke ball.
You know, Williams, a guard who has great responsibilities there, is averaging 4.1 rebounds a year.
He almost had a triple-double in the game against DePaul this year. Was 1 rebound short of becoming only the 2nd player in Duke history other than Gene Banks. Ball loose.
Oh, great
Barkley
steal.
takes it. Thornton ties it at 79. Just under 2 to play.
You don't see that often against a player like Carrawell, but he was stripped for those great hands by Barkley. Duke has played 5 overtime games this year.
4-1 in the OT.
Lost to Stanford in that opening game and won the other 4.
St. John's hasn't had an overtime game since losing to Duke last year. Maybe we're headed there. 90 seconds to go.
Williams going to have to get some dribble penetration to get things started. There he goes. No call.
Off the glass, back to Williams. Now Barkley takes it.
And they've got the run and start.
Gray, Battier. And a whistle on Battier. That was a tough challenge for Gray to expect to beat Battier. A great defender and a guy with much bigger size.
But I'll tell you what, St. John's comes out off of their defense to get into offense as well as anybody does in the country. Now, Battier got ball, but he also hit him with the body. He wanted thumbs up calling the jump. He doesn't get the call.
Gray at the line for 2. 1:18 remaining.
This is a 6-man squad. Emmanuel, though.
Two-point lead. St. John's calls timeout. 78 seconds to go. St. John's by 2. Really felt like a final 2-minute intensity almost the entire second half. Barkley and St. John's, they have come back from 12 in the first half, went back in front by 7, lost the lead, went down by as many as 4, and now they've regained it.
How about this nice full court pickup by St. John's, making Duke take some time off the clock. Nice move by Mike Jarvis. And they go man-to-man. Duke has not seen man-to-man very much in this game. Good move. Now, Barkley, will his legs hold out here in this defense?
Up over the top, and great help by Bootsy Thornton, but knocked out by the Red Storm. Shot clock at 11.
I haven't seen a team this year with any quicker hands. Now, Mike Krzyzewski calls that timeout because he did not anticipate that there would be man-to-man defense being played by St. John. So he wants to get his guys aware of the fact that although that we've seen zones all day long, half-court zone trap, 2-3 zone, some 1-3-1, a good move by Mike Jarvis came out after that timeout and went man-to-man. Duke wasn't ready for it.
The last coach to come in here, a non-ACC coach, and win at Duke, Steve Fisher,
Michigan,
in 1995.
Tractor trailer on the big play.
And Duke has won 64 in a row against unranked teams. They're playing a team that happens to be one spot out. If you look at those also receiving votes, one spot away from being in the top 25.
Well, Maryland earlier this year stopped their 31 straight ACC victories in a row.
$11 on the shot clock, 53. Tipped out, now 7 seconds on the shot clock.
Good defense by St. John's, packing things back in, knowing Duke wants to get the ball in Boozer's hands. And here's the case, I think, where the dribble penetration and the kick out to Battier can work.
Carrawell dumps it off Boozer. Carrawell, the 3 on the shot clock. James set up from the corner for the lead. Yes!
The kick out on dribble penetration was the answer. Some game.
A 3 gives Duke the lead by 1. 3-second differential. Game clock to shot clock. Barkley.
No place to go under there.
They whip it around. Postell.
Got fouled on the play. No call. St.
Out
John's
to Barkley.
still has it.
15 seconds. Thornton for the lead. Bennett.
If you're Carrawell, get that ball in Williams' hands and let him penetrate.
Carrawell to Boozer, and Duke ball. There is a discrepancy. Well, they gave him only a 2. The game clock at first gave that shot by Thornton as a 3, so Duke was coming down looking at an 84-82 scoreboard here in the arena. But the Thornton shot was now only credited as a 2.
And Thornton is absolutely exhausted. Mike Jarvis wants the referees to look at that play as well. Look again.
They originally, again, here in the arena, counted it as a 3, so Duke was running down the floor, assuming it was an 84-82 deficit.
And Mike Jarvis wants those officials to take a look
Jim versus
at the replay. There's the kick out, the dribble penetration and kick out, something that has been there. And James, in his favorite spot, hits from the corner. Then Thornton comes right back and buries a beautiful jump shot of his own after some excellent rebounding by St. John's.
They're going to keep it as a 1-point game. They're not going to review it. Duke with the ball, down 1, 5 seconds to go.
Not a lot of time, Jim, to make passes here. You've got to get the ball inside. Glover, Boozer,
Carrawell, double team, must get rid of it. There is no time left. St. John's has stunned Duke on its home floor.
excellent college basketball game. Two teams we're going to hear a lot of in the NCAA tournament. But, Jim, considering how the ACC has fared this year in regard to the strength of their conference, this could be a #1 seed that we're not going to have.
Duke goes down by 1. St. John's completes the double. They beat both finalists from last year in a 5-day span. Bootsy Thornton and Carlos Boozer are the Chevrolet most valuable players of the game, and in all likelihood, that's never happened before.
Great job by St. John's. Helps the Big East. They come out 5-5 with the ACC. Their players are exhausted.
What a day, what a game. So for Billy Packer, this is Jim Nance saying so long from Durham, North Carolina, where St. John's has won its 7th straight, beating Duke 83-82. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports, home of the men's NCAA basketball championship.
Before you do this or this or this, you want to have this and this and this.
You'd be surprised how much of our technology goes into your day.
So for this or this or this.
We're Siemens.
We can do that.
Among the people the world's biggest spy station listens in on could be you. If you don't believe it, watch